That means we will be finding the solution of each linear congruence, sir. Later on, we find the product modulo m, sir.
Yes, but you're missing something. My question, from what you are saying, it is not clear whether a solution exists or if there is some condition under which a solution exists, and if so, what is that condition?
That is, they are pairwise. I mean, GCD of each capital MK comma small mk should be 1, sir. They should be relatively prime to each other. We say that two numbers are relatively prime if their GCD is 1, sir.
Yeah. So what is capital MK?
Capital MK is product of M1, M2, so on, Mn, sir. Each time we will be finding capital M1. Capital M1 is M by small m1. Capital M2 is again M by small m2. So there is a relation between capital MK and small mk, sir. They will be pair. I mean, GCD of between those two numbers will be 1, sir. I mean to say that they are relatively prime to each other.
Yes. So again, so what you are saying is that if that GCD condition is met, then there is a solution.
Yes, sir. Even in our linear congruences, sir, to have solution, that is a linear congruence Ax is congruent to B mod M, will be having solution if GCD of AM is equal to 1. Similarly, if GCD of AM is equal to D, it will be having D number of solutions. That is more number of solutions. To gain unique solution, GCD between AM should be 1, sir. They should be relatively.
You want the GCD should divide B, no?
When A comma M, GCD is equal to D, D should divide A and D should divide B, sir. Suppose if A comma M is equal to D, D should divide A and D should divide M also.
Divide A because D is GCD of A and M, so it's a common divisor. But yes, it should divide B, right? Okay. Yes. So then coming back to the original question. So I asked you to find an integer which is congruent to 1 mod 5, 2 mod 6, and 3 mod 7. How would you do that? Can you explicitly find one? Because the point is the Chinese remainder theorem, if you have seen it, then the proof is constructive.
Yes, sir.
Right? So it not only proves the exist. So first of all, you have to check if the Chinese remainder theorem is applicable. What are these MIs in this case?
That's what, sir. I'm telling the GCD between each capital Mi and small mi should be
okay. 1. Is it applicable in this particular example?
I need to solve, sir.
You can ask for a pen, piece of paper or something. Maybe they can give you.
So in order to enter in this Chinese remainder theorem, we are mainly applying system of linear congruences, sir. And for that, even we are using some Euler-Torrent function and other theory also, sir. Can I explain Fermat theorem, sir? Fermat theorem or Euler's theorem? Shall I explain, sir?
Sir, unmute, sir. Please unmute, sir.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, quadratic reciprocity. You want to explain? Please go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
If P is on the.
I'm just here. I'm just going to take the video for a minute, but I'm here. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Shall I start with? Yes, sir.
Please continue.
Shall I start with Fermat theorem, sir?
No, start with quadratic reciprocity.
Yes, sir. Sir, if P is odd prime, then the quadratic congruence x square is congruent to A mod n. It may have solution or may not have solution, sir. We represent if A is quadratic residue modulo P, we denote with by A or P, sir. For example, if I take P is equal to 11, I may write the quadratic congruence as x square is congruent to A mod 11. Here, the GCD of P comma A should be 1. That is, P should not divide A. Then only this x square is congruent to A mod n will have solution, sir. I want to take one example. By taking P is equal to 11, how many number of solutions it will be having? So, it will be having P minus 1 by 2.
Yeah, there is something called law of quadratic reciprocity.
Yes, sir. It will be having P minus 1 by 2 quadratic residue modulo M, and again P minus 1 by 2 quadratic non-residue modulo M, sir. It will be shared, sir.
Yeah,
so
that is a general fact, yeah.
Yes, sir. Before that, one can have what is a Legendre symbol, sir. That is a Legendre symbol of N by P is equal to 1. If N divides P, that is if N is quadratic residue modulo P, we will get 1. That means that quadratic congruence will be having solution if Legendre symbol of N by P is equal to 1. If it is not having solution, then the Legendre symbol of N by P is equal to minus 1. If N divides P, then the value of Legendre symbol will be equal to 0.
If P divides N, you want to say.
Yes.
Not N divides P. P divides.
P divides. Yes.
Yeah, I think.
And then?
Okay,
so this is the notation. What is the theorem?
Yes, sir. That is Legendre symbol of P by Q is equal to Legendre symbol of Q by P whole power P minus, or I may take P by Q Legendre symbol is congruent to Q by P whole power P minus 1 into Q minus 1 by 2 mod P.
Mod P. These are just plus or minus 1, no? Why do you want to take mod P?
I can ignore. If I write equal, I need not keep congruence.
But no, I don't. Okay, I think you are close to the correct statement, but not quite. But anyway, I think maybe I have taken more time. Let the other expert ask questions. Maybe Professor Padmavati.
Yeah, madam, please ask.
I see that you have written a book on differential equations, and you have also taught the theory of ODE, and you have worked in fixed point theorems.
Yes.
So do you know of a connection between this fixed point theorem and some application in ODE?
Yes, madam. That is actually used to solve initial value problems. IVP. An equation is of the form dy by dx is equal to f of yx, f of xy with y of x0 is equal to y0 is called initial value problem. So theory of fixed point, they play a vital role in solving ordinary differential equations, madam. Especially in Picard's-Lindelof, that is, we say existence and uniqueness theorem. So where it has to satisfy Lipschitz condition, it should be bounded and partial derivative of f with respect to y. It exists and continuous. Then
what's the role of fixed point theorem there?
We can use even Banach contraction principle, madam. If x is a complete metric space, t is a contraction on x, then it will have unique fixed point.
Yeah, I think understood my question.
Yes.
So any other application of fixed point theorem?
Actually, they are used in Nash equilibrium, madam. Even though subject is not mine, but I came to know they are used in game theory, madam. Even to find stability of fixed points. They can be seen even at electronics division from engineering, madam. There are some applications, just like Banach contraction principle, Browser fixed point theorem, and then Schroeder fixed point theorem, madam.
So you just mentioned Lipschitz continuity.
Yes, madam.
Function. So does Lipschitz continuity imply continuity? Do you have any idea?
Lipschitz condition implies uniform continuous, and uniform continuous implies continuous, but not conversely. There exist certain functions which are only continuous but not in a reverse way. I can take identity map. Identity map is only continuous, but it is not. It does not satisfy this one.
So can you give me a statement of what is Lipschitz condition?
Yes, madam. Shall I tell, madam?
Yes.
Suppose fxy is a function of two variables that is defined on a domain, say R2. Then some points I am taking x1, y1 and x2, y2, then f is said to satisfy
X1, Y1, X2, Y2.
mod of f of x comma y1 minus f of x comma y2 less than or is equal to k into mod y1 minus y2. Then f is said to.
Only Y are changing.
Yes, madam. That is, in other words, it is enough to find partial derivative of f with respect to y. That is also one more calculation to satisfy Lipschitz condition.
So if we are assuming that derivative of f with y is continuous, what is the theorem that implies that Lipschitz condition is
That is
satisfied?
existence and uniqueness theorem we are using.
No. The condition that f and partial derivative of f with respect to y is continuous imply that it is also satisfying the Lipschitz continuum.
That is on Lipschitz theorem. Madam.
What is the theorem you use to prove that this is equivalent to Lipschitz continuum? This condition that df dy is continuous is continuous. You use some mean value theorem or something?
Picard's.
No. That is, you are giving the condition in Picard's theorem for uniqueness.
Yes, yes.
That I understand. But you gave an alternate condition. You said first that f is continuous and then the Lipschitz condition should be satisfied. Or f is continuous and the partial
derivative of f with respect to y exists and
so which is a stronger condition? Lipschitz or partial derivative of f with respect to y is continuous? Which is more?
Lipschitz only, madam. For example, fxy is equal to root y. If we take partial derivative of f may not exist. Why? Because dou f by dou y may not be defined at some point y is equal to 0. For example, if you take something like root y or y power 3 by 2.
That's not what it is. Anyway, that's thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Srinivas.
Thank you.
Take that paper and what you have written on it. Many paper weight. Bottle weight. Keep the bottle on. Water bottle are very paper.
Waste paper.
Thank you.
Next can.
Okay. Yeah, you leave.
All these.
Sir, Borpade Saab. Sir,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I think we scheduled other subjects also. Another 3 candidates are there.
Okay.
Just please.
They are already delayed in other
delayed.
subjects. They are
Oh, I
waiting other.
So what I suggest is, let Madam ask the question first. Only if necessary, I'll ask something. Okay?
No, you ask.
No,
it,
really,
sir.
honestly, because she's there in person, it's always better. I mean, it's rather than and then no issue as at all. What happens is that usually, person tries. The question I asked him, the last candidate, he did not really answer that, but he was sort of telling what he knew.
Yeah, yes.
So that's why I was trying to sort of get some answer out of him to the specific question that I asked. What typically people will sort of tend to say things which they know, and but not directly answer the question that you asked them, which is not. I mean, okay, at least it tells me what.
No, sir, no, it's all right. Yeah, next candidate, Panitra.
Sit up.
Yeah, Phanindra. So, when did you join in Osmania University? 2013. So, when did you complete your PhD? 2011. So, you are eligible to associate professor September 2021. Okay. So, how many papers so far you published? 51 papers. Oh my God. During the assessment period, how many papers?
18 papers.
18 papers. So, what is your specialization?
Numerical solutions to singular perturbation problems.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, sir, please
Okay.
ask.
So just Just one question, Dr. Panindra. I suppose you teach numerical analysis, differential equations, real analysis, etc., right?
Numerical analysis.
Yeah. What are the courses that you teach? Only numerical analysis or something else also?
Presently, I am teaching operation research and discrete mathematics.
Okay. So, and which area you are comfortable with?
Yes, sir. Operation research, discrete mathematics, numerical analysis.
Okay. What is a convex function? This is important in operations research.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Convex function. F of x is said to be convex function if it can be written as a lambda into x1 plus 1 minus lambda into f of x1 plus 1 minus lambda into f of x2. Means if in a region if I take any two distinct points and if I join them, I will get a straight line that must be belongs to that region only. That is called convex region.
No. No, Dr. Panindra, please make a complete and meaningful statement. Suppose you have a subset of R. Okay. Maybe you want to put some condition on that subset. That's fine. Okay, let's make it simple. Suppose you have an interval in R, I, and you have function f from I to R. I would like you to tell me when f from I to R is said to be convex. So now what is region, who belongs where, all these things, please make it clear.
The function must be written as convex combination of two, the function at two distinct points.
The function must be written like how?
F of x must be less than or equal to lambda into f of x1 plus 1 minus lambda into f of x2.
But what is the relation between x and x1, x2? Who is x, who is x1, who is x2 for all x, for all x1?
X1, x2 belongs to interval, sir.
Yeah. And what is x?
X is any point in the region.
Okay.
Any point, x is any point on the curve.
On what?
On the curve, f of x.
Which curve?
Convex curve.
Convex curve. Where is the convex curve coming from?
Function f of x, it can be written as y equal to f of x. It is a curve. Its shape is like this, and x1, x2 are.
The curve will have two coordinates, no? X comma y. I mean, so what do you x is any point on the curve? I don't understand.
Pardon, sir?
No, the curve is some object in the real plane, right? R2. So therefore it is a pair of points. So when you say x is a point on the curve, what does that mean?
X is the point on the curve means f of x is minimum. At point x, it gives minimum value.
Minimum kahan se aa gaya? I mean, no. Please think about it. Just, and as I said, make a complete and meaningful sentence.
This is a point on the straight line joining x1 and x2.
Okay, and then the condition is?
And the condition is f of x is less than or equal to lambda into f of x1 plus 1 minus lambda into f of x2.
Who is lambda?
Lambda is the parameter lies between 0 and 1.
No, but what is the relation of lambda to x? Because you're on one side you have fx.
Yes, sir.
So is it true for every lambda between 0 and 1?
Yes, sir. It must be true.
Some lambda. Do you understand that there are some issues with the definition, the way you are giving? Okay, just one more question. Suppose I have a convex function on an interval. Is it necessarily continuous?
Convex. Yes, sir.
Always?
Not always, sir. Piecewise continuous means.
I mean, you know this? You know proof? No.
It is continuous Continuous, sir.
Continuous. Okay, I'll pass it on to Professor Padmavati, who may have some questions.
Dr. Sanindra, have you taught Rangekuta methods?
Yes.
So,
For the engineering students.
so what kind of problems do you consider for applying the Rangekuta methods?
Initial value problems. First order initial value. dy by dx equal to x square. Subject to initial condition y of x not equal to y naught.
So, if I have an nth order equation, then how do I apply?
Converting nth order differential equation to first order differential equations. System of first order differential equations. N.
N first order.
N first order differential equations. Then we can apply Rangekuta method to solve.
You have taught interpolation.
Yes.
So you give some formulae that you are studying.
Newton's forward interpolation formula, backward interpolation formula, central Stirling interpolation formula, Lagrange's interpolation formula.
Okay, suppose I have some n plus 1 data points and I have to fit an interpolating polynomial, and I use all these formulae. Will I get the same polynomial or will I get different polynomials?
Polynomial equation is same.
So if I use
Nth degree polynomial. We will get.
so you are saying that there is a unique that going to fit it to n plus 1 points.
Degree of the polynomial is same, madam.
Yeah. So
If
is it my question is, suppose I use Lagrange's polynomial for this n plus 1 data points, pass a Lagrange's polynomial. Lagrange's formula I use and
no,
fit the
we will
polynomial.
get different structure of polynomials, but of same degree.
Different structure, I'm not asking. I'm asking, is it the same polynomial? If I use Lagrange's equation for this n plus 1 data points and I get an interpolating polynomial, if I use say Newton's divided difference formula and I use these data to write down an interpolating polynomial, are they same or are they different?
If data points are not equally spaced, then different.
No, data points are not equally spaced, supposedly. Then I can use both Lagrange's and Newton's divided difference formula. Say I'm using these two and I have n plus 1 data points, and then there is an interpolating polynomial I get from both these two. Will I get a different polynomial or will I get same polynomial?
Same polynomial.
Why? Is there any proof?
Because the data is same. For formula is different.
Then why do you study so many formulae if you get the same?
To reduce the error.
Which error? What is the advantage of using divided difference as against Lagrange's?
Divided difference formula.
Can you tell me one disadvantage of using Lagrange's formula?
If more number of data points are there, it is difficult to apply Lagrange's interpolation.
Okay. Any other?
It is not applicable for equispaced data.
So are you saying that the polynomial is unique or not finally?
Unique.
It is unique, but you don't know the proof. Is that
Yeah. Is it okay? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So we will award marks for these two candidates, then we will take it up another candidate, or we will complete all the four.
Actually,
Then
Need to know, no?
two more. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No. Come on. Come on. Yeah, Rama, when did you join Osmania University?
2013, sir.
2013.
Yes, sir.
When did you complete your PhD?
In 2010, sir.
2010. Before you joined, you completed your PhD.
Yes, sir.
I think it's due for your associate professor in September 2021.
Yes, sir.
So what's your specialization?
My specialization is elasticity, sir. Solid mechanics.
Where are you working now?
In Cypherberg College.
In Cypherberg.
Yes.
How long you are working there?
From the joining of OU, sir. Since
From
2013. Yes, sir.
Almost all 9 years.
Sir.
Sir, I think it's the time to reshuffle the faculty. 9 years in one college, I think. Yeah. So, Rama, please introduce yourself and your area of specialization. How many papers so far you published? And do you have any projects in your hand? And just explain to the experts.
Good afternoon, sirs and madam. My name is Dr. Rama. I'm working as assistant professor in University College of Science, Cypherberg, since 2013. My actual area of specialization is solid mechanics, elasticity. I published 17 papers up to now, and I'm a co-author of one book which is published recently in August 2021.
Name of the book.
Yes, sir. It is limits and continuity, and the subname is proofs including delta and epsilon. It is particularly for the intermediate students, sir, and both degree also. So particularly each and every problem was explained using the epsilon and the delta.
Yeah. Sir, open it up.
Okay,
Sir,
so
please.
yeah, I understand. Dr. Rama, you're not exactly teaching in Osmania University, but in a college associated to it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. College. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a constant college of
Constant
Osmania University,
college.
sir. It's the transferable
It
position.
can be transferred to the main department.
Main department also.
Okay. And what do you teach there? What sort of courses do you teach?
Right now, I'm teaching for MSc Applied Mathematics students, sir. Now I'm teaching mechanics, fluid mechanics, viscous flows, and finite element methods, sir.
Okay. So you're familiar with functions of several variables and their differentiability, etc., right?
Yes.
I mean, you are in the Department of Mathematics, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I just have some. I would like to ask you. Suppose you have a function f from R2 to R. You understand? A real valued functions of two real variables.
Okay, sir.
My question is, when is it said to be differentiable at a point? Let us say point is x0, y0, and function is f.
If the limit of f of x comma plus h comma y plus k minus f of x comma y divided by h, if limit h tends to 0 and k tends to 0, then if that limit exists, then it is said to be differentiable at that particular point.
Are you sure? Because so you said f of x plus h, y plus k, right?
Yes, sir.
But while dividing, you only divided by h.
No, sir. K is also included. Two variables.
So what do you mean what does it mean to say you divide by the pair h comma k? Is that what you mean? What kind of division is it? Do you have division notion of division in Rn in general, R2 in particular?
Division, sir.
Division. Yeah. You said f of x plus h, or maybe you meant x0 plus h, y0 plus k.
X plus h comma y minus f of x comma y divided by h, then it is said to be differentiable with respect to the variable x. And similarly, when it is differentiable with respect to y, we have to include x comma y plus k in the function minus f of x.
But what about differentiable with respect to x or with respect to y? In other words, what is called total differentiation.
If both the derivatives exist, then we can say that it is totally differentiable. And
suppose f is totally differentiable in the sense that you define, must it be continuous? Does differentiability implies continuity?
if it is continuous, we call it as continuously differentiable.
No. If you just have differentiability, both these limit exist, let us suppose.
If it is differentiable means already it is a continuous function, then only we can differentiate it.
Now, see, the point is, I think what you define are the notion of partial derivatives.
Yes, sir. Correct. Because it is a function of two variables.
That's why you talked about existence of partial derivatives, but you can check that does not in general imply continuity. So there is something called differentiability, which is more than existence of partial derivatives. Okay, it's a stronger notion, and if you define it correctly, which you haven't quite done that, you might want to go back and check in any book on multivariable calculus, any good book on multivariable calculus, and then that would imply continuity. Okay, so there is some subtle difference between existence of partial derivatives and differentiability. Okay, anyway, let my colleague Professor Padmavati ask you also some other questions.
Yeah.
So you've been you wrote something about Volterra integral equations, right?
Yes, sir.
They're related to some type of problems in differential equations. What are they? Volterra integral equations are related to some problems in differential equations, ordinary differential equations. Do you know what's the connection between differential equations and Volterra integral equations?
The differential equation can be converted into the integral equations. So, is there any relation between the differential equation and what?
Yes, madam.
What kind of problems are there? Initial value problems, boundary value problems?
Initial value problems, ma'am. Because there also have taken initial value problem as an example.
Suppose you have a boundary value problem, is there any corresponding integral equation and construct?
Okay.
So you have been teaching course on elasticity or viscous flows? Okay. So what are these constitutive equations?
Equations of conservation of mass.
Is that
conservation of mass? Navier-Stokes equation.
In elasticity, you have Navier-Stokes equation?
No. Energy equation, equations of entropy, balance of momentum, and 3 equations are done like this. And actually, the medium which we have taken
in elasticity,
as a part of elasticity, we have taken microisotropic and microelastic medium, that especially related to micropolar elasticity.
So, what can you tell me Navier-Stokes equations? Actually, what do those equations represent?
They represent they are the set of partial differential equation which gives the motion of the viscous fluids. Represents the motion of
linear or non-linear?
Non-linear.
So, is there some physical law applying with get those equations? Even is it conservation or not? So what is it? What do those equations represent?
What law? Physical law.
Which physical law do they?
Newton's second law of motion. Newton's basic
Exactly what it is.
F is equal to ma.
So what are those forces that you are considering in Navier-Stokes equations?
Tangential
and balance.
Both normal and tangential. Frictional forces are also taken into consideration as it is a viscous fluid.
What are the you have certain terms that you.
For example,
Conservation
half
equations.
conservation of mass
Conservation
continuity
of
equation
mass.
is there. Now, what is for representing Navier-Stokes equation?
Navier-Stokes equations, what are the terms representing? What forces are they? Each term will represent some force, right? I'm asking you what are they?
Like convective terms.
Del dot Q convective term.
Don't say del dot Q because you did not describe what is Q, what is that.
Yes.
I just want to know the names of the forces that you are considering. Do you know why it is very important, this Navier-Stokes equations?
Because in designing of any mission,
Which
these
mission?
any kind of mission, especially rockets and some mission designing, this knowledge of mechanics is especially important.
These are governing equations for what? These are equations of motion for what?
Viscous fluids.
Law of conservation of movement. Simple.
For the viscous incompressible fluids. It's not for any machine. See, machine can be any gadget. Should not be so vague.
Okay. Rama,
Sir.
I think almost all your publication in Malaya Journal of Mathematics. No, not one or two. Four articles
Four,
published
sir.
in 4 articles published in only same journal.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because I have gathered all the papers at a time and sent at a time, sir. Because in the search of finds, sir.
No, is it possible to publish within a year for 4 papers in one
No, sir.
journal and one article?
No, sir. Actually, the process started in the year 2020 only. But
No,
came
it should be
into
diversified.
publishing.
No, it should be diversified.
Yes, sir.
Is it a pair journal?
I
Yes,
think
sir,
so.
page journal, page
It's a page journal.
And again, one more thing
And
is that
IJSM.
IJMA, SJIF, then IJSIMR, these are also paid journals.
Yes, sir.
So what it means?
You have to bring a good name to your university. You should not publish.
Osmania is a brand name. Why you are publishing?
Your head of the department is very cordial and he is always supporting all the candidates. But what is this? Huh?
Sure, sir.
Number doesn't matter.
But at least publish in a way.
Your research article should be published in very reputed SCI index journal.
And also here onwards, don't put the abbreviations. You have to write the complete name. Okay. The Journal of Maths, Computer Science, JMA, full stop, SCI, full stop. How can we know this?
I have written, I mean, within bracket,
No,
I
no,
mentioned.
No, you have not written. This is with me.
That is also paid journal.
Yeah. Journal of Maths, Computer Science.
All are in paid journal.
Actually, what happened, sir, after the new guidelines, they did not know the exactly. But,
No, sir. No, that is true. But at the same time, 1 year, 4 articles in one journal. That to paid journal. Which is not correct.
Obvious.
No, let it be one article. One can consider. But 4 articles in 1 year and same journal, I think it's highly ambitious. Okay, don't publish from here onwards. Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Teachers, sir, she's in women's college. She did not know all those things. She is not having any knowledge. She lost pre-capping is there, sir.
No. Once they joined in the university, sir, they should know that rules and regulations. According to 2016 guidelines, which are conducting this.
Professor Ishan, is a gold medal, number gold medalist.
Yeah, open the reading. Please sit around. Yeah, open the reading. Where are you working now?
Currently working in Nizam College.
Nizam College. How long?
From 2013 onwards.
13 onwards.
Yes.
Again 9 years.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Kishan sir, why didn't you transfer from Nizam College to Saifabad to Women's College and Women's College to campus? No, from years together, stick out to one college, I think it's not good.
Because of fees in a confidential section.
Confidential section. Which confidential?
Examination.
Here, in the campus.
Yes, sir.
No, that doesn't matter. Nizam College, Women's College, and PG College. Yeah, when the ready, we need to complete your PhD?
2007, sir.
2007. Okay. Yeah, it's due for your associate professor in September 2021.
Yes, sir.
So what's your specification?
Uterosopies. Uterosopies.
I don't know.
Yeah, either number theorem, analysis, or
Yes, sir. That is extension of the fuzzy sets, sir. Fuzzy sets. Fuzzy sets.
So how many papers you have published so far?
18, sir.
18 papers. And during the assessment period, how many papers?
10, sir.
10.
Yes.
From 2018 to 21?
Yes, sir.
And 4 years, 3 years.
Yes, sir.
3 years you published 10 papers.
Yes, sir.
Is it paid journals or
No, sir. UGC, KUC as well as Scopus.
Scopus? Malaya Journal of Mathematics is a paid journal or paid journal?
UGC,
I think we came to know that it's a paid journal.
is there in
Malaya
the
Journal of
UGC.
Mathematics, Malaya Journal of Mathematics. Again, you also publish the same.
It is there in the UGCs.
No, our experts are saying that it's a paid journal.
No, no, I got free journals without paying anything.
Okay. Yeah, Govardhan sir. Sir, please interact with this.
So what courses do you teach?
I'm teaching undergraduate courses, sir.
What? Which one?
Differential equations and differential and integral calculus.
So are you strong with calculus?
Yeah, of course.
So what is a what's a uniformly continuous function? Have you come across the notion of uniformly continuous function? Let's say real valued function of one real variable.
Sir, it's there in the real differential calculus. We are teaching with the
Calculus you don't-
curvature and all this curvature and evaluation of the application of calculating the surface integral, volume integrals like this.
Okay. So suppose now, so you when you want to calculate volume of a solid of revolution, there are two methods. There is something called washer method and shell method, right? Have you come across that?
In the UG syllabus, that is not there, sir. Only revolution about the x-axis and as well as the y-axis.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Never mind. So do you know the number pi? Fundamental constant in mathematics. How to define pi?
That is the circumference of the circle.
Pi is equal to circumference of the circle. Any circle?
Sir,
No. What is the definition of pi?
pi is the that is the circumference of the radius of the circle.
What? Circumference of the radius of the circle? I don't understand. Please explain. Pi is a notion which we are, pi is a number which we encounter since school days, right? What is the definition of pi? The question should be clear, right? Question is clear?
This is a ratio.
That value is 22/7, sir. 3.14 approximately. The value.
Pi is equal to 22/7?
yes, sir.
Is that the definition? Are you sure?
Yes, sir. 22/7 and 3.14 approximately.
So which one, 22/7 or 3.14?
Sir, 22/7, that is equal to 3.14 approximately, sir.
But pi is equal to 22/7 according to you.
Yes.
So what happened to that circle?
Sir.
Okay, maybe Professor
Yeah.
Karnal.
Differential equations.
Yes, sir.
Can you take Picard's theorem?
Because, madam, usually level Picard's theorem is not there. No, madam, we don't have Picard's theorem. First order and first degree and the second and higher order differential equations.
So you do this Stokes theorem, Gauss divergence theorem, Green's theorem.
That is there in the vector calculus, madam.
Are you teaching those?
Not today, madam. Earlier I taught.
Do you know the connection between Green's theorem and Stokes theorem?
Yeah, Green's theorem we are applying for the plane wave. That is integral over C mdx plus ndy is equal to double integral over the region R. Dou m by dou x is minus and dou m by dou y dx dy. Relation between the curve to the region. That is.
Is there any connection with Stokes theorem?
Yeah, connection is there, madam. That is in the Stokes theorem also it is curve to the that is surface, madam. Yeah, F is a continuous vector point function integral over C. Fdr is equal to double integral over S curl F ds.
What's the condition of
F? F is continuous vector point
where?
on the surface. Two times. Relation between curve to surface. Two times.
What else are you teaching?
Fourier series and integral transforms. Fourier series and Laplace transforms.
Is sigma 1 by n convergent or divergent?
Sigma 1 by n divergent.
Sequence? What about the sequence?
Sequence is convergent. Sequence is convergent. Series is divergent.
How do you show that?
Yes, sir.
How can you show that sigma 1 by n is divergent? Why
series?
Yeah, series.
In series, it is divergent, sir. Sequence,
Why?
it is.
Why?
By P series test, we can say that, sir.
What is the P series?
P series test, sir.
Okay. How do you prove the P series test?
By taking the terms, sir. Taking first two terms and then next four terms, like that we can prove that. Prove that P is P less than 1, it is going to be convergent. P greater than 1, it is going to be divergent, like this. P is equal to 1, test fails, sir.
But this is the P equal to 1, no? So test is failing.
Yes, sir.
So how does it apply?
Then we have that comparison test and other tests. Comparison test.
How will you compare it? Sigma 1 by n.
Sir, P is greater than or equal to 1, it is going to be divergent, sir.
P is greater than or equal to 1, it's divergent. So sigma 1 upon n square is divergent.
Sir?
So suppose I take P equal to 2.
Yes, sir.
And summation 1 over n square. Is it convergent or divergent?
It is greater than or equal to 1, it is going to be divergent, sir. Less than 1, it is going to be convergent, sir.
For which series? Summation 1 over n to the power p, is it?
Yes, sir.
That's not correct. Anyway, I mean, sorry, I interrupted madam's question, so maybe she can continue with.
Why is an irrational number?
Irrational
22 by
number.
7 is rational.
Pi is irrational number.
What about 22 by 7?
22 by 7, no, it also gives the approximate value 3.141.
Is it rational or irrational?
It is irrational.
22 by 7.
Pi value is irrational.
22 by 7.
Irrational.
The rational approximation equal to.
No, you said pi is equal to 22 by 7, right?
That is approximation values.
So what is pi then? What is the definition of pi?
What is the circumference of a circle?
Yes, ma'am, I
What is
remember,
the circumference of a unit circle?
ma'am, I cannot exactly define, ma'am. I know the value.
Just trying to help you.
Circumference.
What is the circumference of a circle? Formula.
Madam,
Circle is circumference.
pi r square.
Pi r square is circumference?
Relax.
2 pi r, no?
2 pi r.
Diameter. Afraid is not. What is it?
So we are getting into circles. Hmm?
R is the radius, what's the diameter? Circumference. Is there some relation? Then that gives you the value. Paper na.
Take the paper. Okay.
Circumference formula range. Diameter formula.
My exact answer is
Right? Right. What's the formula?
वो तो हो गया ये भी करना है think like
Oh, Upender, you joined in university service in 13, but you published one paper in 2018 after 5 years. Again in the 2020, you have published 5 papers and the same journal. Again the same Malaya Journal of Mathematics. Oh, how do we expect that? Only for promotion you are publishing in the paid journal or out of research interest? How can we say it's about? Out of 9 years you have not published any paper. Only in 2020 you have published the 5 papers in only one journal. Is it individual or joint?
Giants.
Joint paper. But you have not mentioned that. Bipolar some distance in neutrosophic graphs. Is it your individual paper or co-author? But they have to mention the co-authors. Not mentioned.
so is it first author paper you are first author or corresponding author or co-author?
Corresponding.
You are. So simply it's a sake of completion of the condition
Yes.
for promotion.
And tomorrow again for professor also you do the same thing.
No, sir.
No, if not,
Who will take the guarantee?
Yeah.
Last promotion, I saw some engineering people also published the
The
papers
paid
in paid journal.
Yes.
It's very bad.
I think we have to take a resolution in the EC that every teacher has to publish at least one paper in a care list.
SCI, sir.
Yes.
Kerala UGC listed also paid journals.
Yes. Scopus, yeah, Scopus and EC.
Okay.
Don't repeat this kind of research.
While getting promotion, you should have to make an undertaking.
Yes. Sir, the first candidate, Srinivas, I think according to me, it's a 58 marks. Other three persons, 55, 55, 55. You suggest me if any enhance or increase or decrease?
No, so with those marks, they cannot get the promotion, right?
No, they will get promotion.
So they will get.
They will get, sir. That's not a problem.
How much you need for promotion?
50 plus.
And they need how many marks for promotion?
So 50% and above, sir.
I see.
But already in the scrutiny, they have recommended for promotion. This only, I think it's only we testing the domain knowledge and the interview performance.
So, I mean, honestly, all of them were quite bad, especially the last two.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I mean, I think it must have been obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to promote them, go ahead. I will not come in the way. But also, as you pointed out, they are wantonly publishing in paid journals and really very substandard journals, which is actually, it's worse than not publishing. Probably bringing a bad name to your university. I think that sort of practice should not really be encouraged. I mean, yeah, this person said pi is 22/7 and so on and so forth, and then in any case couldn't quite define it. I mean, that's even the previous. I mean, I expected better from Professor Rama because she has a gold medal in BSc and MSc.
Yes.
But then, she cannot tell us what a differentiable function of two variables is, which is unfortunate. I thought Srinivas was somewhat okay, although he tried to answer in a very roundabout way.
Yeah.
But at least he showed some understanding, I think. And Phanindra was worse. I mean, he had difficulty defining a convex function and so on.
Yes.
But maybe, I mean, I think since he works in numerical analysis, I mean, it may be possible on the borderline, but I mean, I don't know.
We give more marks to Srinivas and
Yes.
less to Rama.
You can think about whether you really want to promote all of them, or maybe make them wait and do strengthen their business somehow.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
As far as CA's promotion rules and regulations are to be considered, already the committee had recommended to promote these fellows.
Achha.
We are helpless. So we have to promote them.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, but I'm sure you have seen, I think Professor Kishan, I think you should recommend them to at least attend some ATM schools, some workshops for teachers, or, go to MTTS or some these IST or teacher enrichment workshop, which NCM is organizing.
Sir, this is not the case for this university.
Yeah.
I visited many more universities for promotion of under CAS.
Yeah.
There is a trend, even Faculty of Science and Technology. We understand humanities and languages, few papers may be published by paid journals. But science and technology people are publishing more than 90% papers in paid journals.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. I mean, that's not how research should be. I mean, and all these API score and so on has done more harm than good. I mean, it's terrible.
I'm not concerned about their research quality. I'm more concerned about their basics.
Yes.
Basics are very
They're imparting most likely they're imparting wrong knowledge to the students.
Yes, yes.
Making a mockery of things.
While appreciating Sudhir Gopande's comments, observations, I think our Vice Chancellor should, while giving them orders, he should warn them. He should,
No, already warning him.
Many times.
No.
Warnings given many times.
Order should be given with
No,
a serious warning.
Sir, intentionally, that's why I think we invited the professors from IIT, NITs, and Central University. At least our teachers should know what is happening in the university and their subject levels.
Because I can tell you our MSc from our department would have better knowledge.
Yeah, true.
Many of these. If you need good teachers, I can send you some. But I don't want to come in the way of their whatever. Since everything is recommended and we are more or less rubber stamping it, it's fine. Go ahead. I will sign.
Actually, our Vice Chancellor is very careful regarding the professors. Experts must be from good, the eminent persons. So, insisted is to keep the eminent persons only.
No, I appreciate that. And I know.
As you
You were asking very specifically about the journals. That's very good. It does send us a message.
Okay. 60, 55, 55, 55.
Yes.
Yeah, you can give a little bit more to this Srinivas. Slightly better than others, I would say.
58.
Yeah.
55. Okay. Right. So accordingly, I'll send it to you, sir. Please sign and send it to us.
Fine.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
One second.
Okay. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
घोरपडे सर कोल्हापूरला या एकदा.
हो येऊ ना जरूर.
बोलवतो आता एक आम्ही मॅथमॅटिक्स फिजिक्स एक कॉन्फरन्स घेणार आहे.
बरं.
त्यावेळेला बोलवतो.
चालेल. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye, madam.
पक्का मराठी.
No, she is
Gour
down.
Banjara, madam.
मराठी येतं?
Marathi, Kannada, Telugu,
all
and Rajasthani mixed language.
Lambada, that is.
Indo-Aryan language.
Indo-Aryan.
But it is not pure Marathi as such. All mixed words.
हिंदी, तेलुगु, हिंदी, उर्दू और मराठी.
So Surya,
सेम है ना. उर्दू आता है तो हिंदी आता है, हिंदी आता है तो मराठी आना ही चाहिए.
She is a role model for most of the teachers. She studied in distance education after marriage, and almost all she produced more than a dozen books, and became the head of the department and
Born brought up from a tribal hamlet.
State Council of Higher Education member, occupied many positions, and Center for Investments Director.
It goes to her family members and particularly husband.
Yeah. No.
All members are supported to you, no. That's what it is possible.
No, this husband also retired from. Earlier he worked here, sir.
Next.
No, one second. Just finish.
Genetics.
15, 30, 45. Plus 18, no?
A car.
लगता है मेरे पास. Last of April में last of April or first week of May. It's a mandatory. Once allotted, no. It's a mandatory. We should have to go there, assess the things, upload, assess the PhD report online, grades it online, everything.
Lot of Yes. Next Institute of Genetics. యాక్చువల్ గా వీళ్ళ ముగ్గురిని రిజెక్ట్ చేస్తే సెట్ అవుతుంది. నిజం కూడా శ్రీనివాస్ is okay. Srinivas is okay, but Fanindra is also average. Raman and Upendra Reddy is, though I don't know about the mathematics, I could gather. MSc
afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
Sir, there may be some disturbance because right now I'm traveling in a bus, so maybe you have to bear with me.
Okay. Please mute yourself, Smita.
Yes, sir, sure. Yes, sir.
Sir, good evening, sir. Professor Reddy, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Andy.
Thank you very much for sparing.
I could not come personally. So maybe some other time I will meet you all.
Thank you, sir. Sir, here with Dr. Bhan Prakash Reddy Garu, I think.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dr. Banu.
Good evening, sir. Sir, Professor Pulari from Shivaji University is governor's nominee, sir.
Oh, Mr.
Our registrar, Professor Lakshmanarayana.
Professor Balkishan, Dean, Faculty of Sciences, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, Andy.
Yeah.
So, sir, Surya Abhinanji, sir, Department of Telugu.
Namaste, namaste.
Mr. Mridali, sir. Good evening, sir. Dr. Shamla, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Vijayalakshmi.
Professor Malak Sultana, sir, from Health Department.
Vijayalakshmi. We'll go for last. Yeah, come. Yeah, how are you, Vijayalakshmi?
Fine.
Okay. So, tell me, when did you join in Osmania City?
2014, sir.
2014.
14. Yes, I worked at Krishna University, Machilipatnam. That service has been added.
No. I'm asking, when did you join in Osmania Institute?
14, sir.
2014.
Yeah.
But you mentioned here 2009. Date of appointment as assistant professor in Osmania Institute. Have it continue?
No, date of appointment as assistant professor in Osmania 2014 only I mentioned.
This is 9. Sir,
9 means this is the first date of
No,
appointment. It is
assistant professor
continued.
academic level 10. That is 2009.
No. Decade we have for service. But whereas I am asking one question, when did you join in Osmania? 14. But it is not mentioned.
20th January 2014.
14.
19 January 2014. Okay, madam.
February 1st February 2014 I have joined at Osmania University.
Motion.
Yes.
This is the first appointment taken into consideration. The chart was prepared.
Yes. No. For understanding, for our understanding, this yeah, you come now. You're come here for associate professor.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So it's due for September 2021.
Yes.
Okay, Vijayalakshmi, how many papers you have published during your assessment period? 18 to 21.
25. Altogether 25, sir.
25. All are individual or joint papers?
Joint papers.
Joint papers. Is it in care listed papers or?
Yes, sir. They are all UGC
UGC care listed.
with impact.
Please introduce yourself and your contribution and specialization, particularly the Institute of Genetics, and just explain to our experts.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Vijayalakshmi. I have been appointed as Assistant Professor at Institute of Genetics. Since the time of appointment, I am looking after clinical biochemistry. So my major duty is there to involve into the clinical biochemical diagnosis of single gene disorders, as well as we are looking at multi-gene disorders also. But focus is on single gene disorders, where I am focusing on diagnosis, biochemical diagnosis of Wilson's disease, muscular dystrophy, and then the pregnancy associated complications, whether the baby is developing properly or not, that we check by collecting the maternal serum and looking at the biochemical parameters. And also I screen the newborns by collecting the blood samples and looking at the metabolites with the inborn errors of metabolism, like the amino acid metabolic disorders and also the mucopolysaccharidosis. So this is the major diagnostic activity I am involved in. And apart from diagnostic activity, I am also into the outreach activities where we go to the colleges and villages. We give awareness about the single gene disorders, and I am focusing more on hemoglobinopathies, that is thalassemia, sickle cell anemia. And we are creating awareness in the college students, screening, collecting the blood samples and screening whether they are having the defective gene for these hemoglobin abnormalities. So that is related to my specific outreach activity and the diagnostic activities. And I am also into teaching. I am teaching MSc Molecular Human Genetics students at our institute, PG Diploma in Genetic Counseling, and I also give training to the MBBS students, MD students who have come from Osmania Medical College and other medical colleges. And I am the coordinator for the certificate course in the clinical genetics. So that is related to the teaching and training programs. And coming to the research activities, I guide the MSc students for their dissertations, and I help them in writing the papers also. So few of my papers are result of the student dissertations too, apart from my research, where I guide the PhD scholars in biotechnology, genetics, and as well as in biochemistry. And my research projects, I have completed 3 major projects and 2 are ongoing. Recently, I completed the DST cell project, and DAE project is ongoing. Because of COVID, it got delayed. So my core research is into the cancer biology, so the factors influencing the cancer progression and also the association with the cancer drug resistance. So I'm not only focusing on the cancer signaling pathways and also focusing on the cancer treatment too. And my focus is on nutrients relevance, because basically I am a PhD holder from the nutritional biochemistry and I did PhD at National Institute of Nutrition. So I always look into the interaction of the nutrients with the molecular biochemical signaling pathways. So in the cancer onset, how these nutrients or the dietary compounds can influence the cancer progression.
Okay, Vijayalakshmi, you are one speaking. Let our experts should ask. So, Professor Garu, please interact with Vijayalakshmi. Please unmute, sir. Please unmute, sir.
So, Dr. Vijayalakshmi, I think in terms of teaching research and extension activities, you have been doing extremely well in terms of the publications. How many students you have guided for PhD?
Two got awarded, sir. PhD award.
And ongoing research projects, I think they were completed last year. They're still there.
Yes, the DAE is running, sir, because of the COVID. It is in collaboration with BAR. So they did not allow the student to come there and do some of the experiments. So that's why it got delayed.
Any new projects in the pipeline or approved?
Not yet, sir. I submitted few proposals, but not at all.
So you are working in a very important area, that is in cancer biology, diagnostics. Any collaborations with hospitals or diagnostic labs?
Yeah, we do have collaboration with MNJ Cancer Hospital, and recently we have developed MOU with the CPFD and AIMS Nagar.
Yeah. So you were mentioning that you have been working on drug resistance. Drug resistance in cancer patients is because of many um, pathways. Many pathways are involved in developing the drug resistance. Any particular pathway or any particular mechanism?
Yeah, particularly I am looking into the trace mineral influencer. So one of the project I completed with respect to copper, the copper deficiency. In the presence of copper, the platinum uptake was less. So because there is competition between copper and platinum with the receptor, the similar receptor, whatever is used for the copper, is also being used for the platinum.
So which drug you are talking about? Cisplatin. Okay, that's the only one you did with, or any other drugs? Are the efflux pumps are also involved in drug resistance for cisplatin?
They are involved, sir, but I did not really check that in my path. Only onto the copper receptors and also the levels of zinc, how it can influence the cisplatin drug resistance. And it's not just the drug resistance, but how it can protect the cells, the normal cells, from the cisplatin.
Yeah, cisplatin anyway is a very first line of drug, but there are a number of other drugs, targeted therapies have come where their drug resistance has been reported again, like Gleevec, but we have not studied any of those.
So one of the DAE projects, whatever is running on, that is with respect to HER2 therapies and all, still we are observing the resistance problem in spite of using the antibodies for the HER2. So there the problem is receptor recycling. So because of the receptor recycling, the problem is aggravating. So there I am looking into the influence of phytate, the inositol hexaphosphate, which is a dietary compound. How it can influence with the receptor endocytosis, whether it can be of useful intervention to overcome the drug resistance. That's what my DAE project is.
Okay.
There, radiation, I'm applying radiation too.
Okay. So as you see, I think the government funding has been coming down and you have to rely on private funding. Any industry or diagnostic companies. So that is the way to go to move forward. But you have not received so far any funding from any of the industries or diagnostic labs, I think. You have made any efforts to get funding from outside government agencies? No, not yet. So, okay, what are your plans in the next 5 years? Where would you like to make a mark?
So, being a faculty at genetics hospital, I would like to establish a nutrigenomics laboratory. So now it is the era of personalized nutrition. Not every individual will respond same way to the nutrition therapy. And also the nutrient transporter gene polymorphism. That is one of the project my PhD scholars research work, where we are looking into the zinc transporter gene polymorphism, how it can influence the zinc levels in the tissue, and whether it can be a marker for understanding the cancer. That we got good results. So with that lead, I want to establish the nutrigenomics. So looking into other receptors too.
Are you collaborating with NIN, any of the scientists there? Because NIN has been working on nutritional aspects, and either you have to collaborate with them in order to, make a mark.
I have completed one major project in collaboration with NIN, and I am also seeking their assistance for many of our exams too. And now I have to meet the director and develop MOU for establishing the nutrigenomics laboratory.
Specifically, when you are working on some of the genetic disorders like beta thalassemia, there is scope for even to get funding from the state government also to study the prevalence or to prevent such identify much in advance. So maybe you should make some efforts in that direction also.
With the help of Telangana Academy of Sciences, we have conducted screening from at Mahbub Nagar Healthcare College.
Did you apply for the TS Cast projects? Not applied then. So recently they have funded almost 30-40 projects. Okay, all the best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Prakash Reddy, please.
Yes, Lakshmi, I know fair amount of your research because she constantly interacts with NIM colleagues. But as Mr. Redana said, thought it may not be the right one for you to make a dent on drug resistance. I think the Vivek or how the latest drugs that are used be better for you in the projects in that time. When you do this diagnostics, they are only reference or you make your own efforts to get them, the patients to the only reference. So then after that, what is the follow-up? What is the action?
After diagnosis, give counseling for the patient. So we ask them to come back again to collect the report. So based on the report, we counsel the patient. So that's all. There is no further follow-up.
I think I'm just trying to pick up what Professor Redanos has said. As this not only Institute of Genetics but diagnostics and also research. Any of these cases, when you get how you can build them into research programs, that would be a better idea. Just diagnosing them and then doing the counseling. I think that's what Sir is also asking you. What is your next 5 years course of action? This could be one line. Those cases that you get, how you identify them if they are going to be new ones or novel ones, and how can you incorporate them or develop some kind of research programs on them.
Actually, I have developed an algorithm model for differential diagnosis
of database. You are making the database of all these cases.
Yes, sir. That is that identity which is often needs to be updated, and once it is updated, we make it.
Any salient finding of your completed or ongoing projects? One particular point that you want to highlight to the committee? One single thing that you are most excited or you think the committee should be doing that?
Yeah, that is related to food grade nano emulsions, sir. So as a DST project in DST project, I focused on food grade nano emulsions where the nutrients delivery can be more efficient. So I could successfully incorporate vitamin D and DHA EPA2, the omega-3 fatty acids in combination, and their stability was good. The nanoemulsion stability was good, and when I have tested in vitro, the bioavailability also seems to be very good. I mean, without any loss. So the major problem in the food supplementation is bioavailability. How far these nutrients are available for the absorption. So when we give in the form of food grade emulsion form, they bypass the liver metabolism and also acid digestion, and they can reach the intestine, and there the availability will be very high. So that is one of the point I could establish with the help of realistic funding, the nano emulsions loaded with vitamin D and omega fatty acids, which are very stable. And in spite the concentration is very high, so we can use them for therapeutic purpose and also for the supplement.
Yeah,
so that is one thing.
That is at a research level, it's perfect. How do you evaluate the role of nutrients in cancer? You have some basic or baseline data, then only this can be applied, right? We have that kind of information that there's a problem or there's a problem in vitamin.
Yeah, the literature says
in our case, in Telangana or in this Indian context, can we evaluate the nutritional aspects of the cancer in the patient?
The aspects I am looking at zinc, sir. I did not check vitamin D and O. Zinc levels. There is difference in the tissue zinc level as well as with the circulation.
Definitely, in cancer patients, circulation will not be the right.
Yes. So we found high increased zinc concentration. When you check the tissue zinc levels, they are low.
That's exactly what I am.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That I am thinking on the zinc.
Yeah, I think those are the directions that from the institute, not only as an individual, provides a signature to the university. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Vijay Lakshmi. Do you like that? No. Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Smita is happy or Smita wants to ask something?
Smita, you want to ask something?
No. No head, no deal. Only experts.
Right, sir. I'll be logging off, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Only one application. Sir,
Good day, sir.
please suggest how many marks we give out of 100. So which category into 3 categories. One is the activity based is category 1, 30 marks. Category 2, academic and research activities, 50 marks. Interview performance, 20 marks.
Okay, so we have to give interview performance, no? All the others you might have already calculated.
Yes, sir.
I think she deserves promotion in terms of publications, in terms of other activities. 20 papers within this span of during assessment period is really very good. And also I have gone through her publications also. And in terms of research grants, getting grants from DBT, DST, DAE is not so easy. So I think she deserves whatever that is required to promote. How many marks she requires?
No, marks is 50%. But out of 20 interview, how many?
I think 15, 16 we can give.
Okay. For academic and research, out of 50 marks, is it okay?
There you may calculate, no, basing on the number of publications, research grants, PhD guidance.
35 to 40 is okay, sir?
Yeah, I think it deserves more also.
Okay. This is 30 marks for activities and this contribution to academics and other thing. It was already recommended by the scrutiny committee.
Yeah.
So your assessment out of 30, 20, 25 is okay?
20, 25 is fine.
65, 8. Sir, we'll sign and we'll scan it to you, sir. Please sign it.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. See you some other time.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Okay.
Madam. Yeah, Smita madam.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir, is asking. तुम्ही मराठी आहात काय?
No, sir, I'm not a Maharashtrian, sir. I'm a Pakka Telangana person, so my surname is quite misleading.
Your name indicates that the Marathi name.
No, sir, it's not a Maharashtrian. We are there prominently present in Telangana also, sir.
Tulari sir has come from the Shivaji University, professor of physics, is a chancellor's nominee. Okay.
Yes, sir. Pleasure meeting you, sir. Go online.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Sign.
Yeah, I signed.
Science.
Thank you. Right, thank you, sir. We'll meet, sir. Yeah, okay. You can
Good evening, sir. Balaprakash, sir.
Oh, yes. See you later.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Now we can leave.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Are you coming to Hyderabad?
Okay, sir. Yes, I am right. No, no, sir. I'm in Bangalore along with the French delegation.
Oh, acha, get together on
So,
the
I'll see you too. Yeah. Not a get together, sir. We have signed an MOU with the KDU today. So, we'll be coming to Hyderabad on 23rd.
Okay, right.
Yes, sir. Good day, sir.
People along with you.
Sir?
I told you to take us along with you to Bangalore.
Sir, that I can't do.
Dharmaprakash Jain.
Physics expert, do online, eh?
Yeah, do online.
Experts online.
Experts online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Candidate.
ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಅವೇವಿ ಸರ್ can. It's time actually. Yeah, both giant. True కదా?
Yes, sir. Only two.
Sir, good evening, sir. R.K. Sinha, sir.
Yes, I am here.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. This is Professor Ravinder, Vice Chancellor Osmania University. Thank you for accepting our invitation and sparing your time for this.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, sorry because it's delayed due to some technical issues.
Yeah, I understand the dynamics of interview.
Yeah. So, since you're Vice Chancellor of Gautam Buddha University, you know very well that the process. So, Dharma Prakash sir from Mangalore University.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Yeah.
Sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Sir, we have only two candidates for from assistant professor to associate professor.
Okay.
This is Professor Pulari Garu from Shivaji University.
Yeah.
And our governor's nominees.
Yeah.
Another department, physics.
Yeah.
And our registrar, Mr. Ashnayana.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, this is Professor Balakrishnan, Dean Sanchez.
Yeah. Okay. Nice to.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Shyamala.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. I am Professor Kalakutta.
Good evening, madam.
Okay. Shall we start, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Ravindra Reddy. So, when did you join in Osmania City? No. I am asking regular appointment. When did you join in Osmania City?
7/9/2013.
9. Did you complete your PhD? 2001. The due for your assistant professor to associate professor 2015. Okay. Yeah, please introduce yourself and your area of specialization. How many papers you have published during this assessment period? And do you have any projects in your hand? Just please introduce yourself to the experts.
So I am Dr. B. Ravinder.
Can you be a bit closer to your mic?
Yeah. Speak loudly. Speak loudly. No, good. No, good. Speak loudly. That's all.
I am Dr. B. Ravinder Reddy, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, University College of Science, Osmania University campus.
That's all. Continue. Tell us your area of specialization. How many papers you have published?
My area of specialization is ultrasonics, and I am working with a project as a co-investigator along with Dr. Sadhana. And this is a major project sanctioned by UGC IUAC, New Delhi.
You continue.
And I have published 7 papers during my assessment period.
Can you tell your area once again? Area of specialization?
Area of specialization is ultrasonic studies.
Okay.
Material, sir.
Okay. Ultrasonic studies, that is a good area. So, can you just briefly explain to me how ultrasonic waves are generated?
Yeah, these ultrasonic waves are generated by piezoelectric crystals by applying electromagnetic pressure, the power, or under which if the electromagnetic power is applied, the crystal gets vibrated, and its electromagnetic energy converts to sound energy, and in the frequency of above 20 kilohertz.
How much? What is the typical frequency of ultrasonic waves?
Yeah, it's above audible range, sir. This is
Okay.
audible range is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's above 20 kilohertz. Yeah, we are working with 2 megahertz to 5 megahertz and 10 megahertz frequency probes, transducer probes.
So, I am not very much convinced with your answer of the piezoelectric, like a literal meaning. Those who are not in this field, they will say we apply pressure and then electric field is generated. While you say that you are applying electromagnetic wave and electric field and then ultrasonic waves are generated. So do you consider piezoelectric method
Yeah,
as ultrasonic wave or reverse piezoelectric method?
Piezoelectric method, sir.
So indeed in the book it is written like that, but I consider it is a reverse piezoelectric method.
No, sir. We apply electric field to the transducer, and because of that, it comes under pressure. Pressure waves are generated. Mechanical waves are generated.
So you apply electric field and then the pressure is generated. But the name piezoelectric, piezo means pressure and electric means that electric field. So the name is a misnomer in that sense.
Yeah, piezoelectric.
So actually in the textbook and all, it should be written as a reverse piezoelectric effect is the method for generating the ultrasonic waves.
So I'll go through this.
Okay. Have you heard Raman Nath experiment?
Yeah, I didn't heard, sir.
But that is one of the important. Raman is our Raman, and Nath is also interaction with electromagnetic waves and these sound waves. Okay.
Yeah,
So
modulation takes place when sound waves are modulated by using electromagnetic waves.
What is the basic difference between the sound waves and electromagnetic waves?
So these are mechanical waves, sir. Sound waves are mechanical waves. Yeah, electromagnetic waves are electromagnetic in nature. They have electric and magnetic vectors perpendicular to each other, perpendicular to propagation, direction of propagation.
Okay. Out of these 7 paper, which is your best paper? Which you consider it and published in which journal?
Yeah, I think almost they are considered to be.
That is good. Almost all must be the, but I'm asking the best out of the 7, which you consider is the best one.
Assessment period, only 5 papers are there, sir.
Okay, no, but he said that he had published 7 papers during the assessment. So I am just interested, which journal that paper you have published? At least you can name the journal.
International Journal of Mendel, sir. The previous in 2007 I published it.
Okay. So 2007 you have published. So what is in the latest last 5 years? Anyone which good paper which you have published?
That's
Is it HTL? What do you mean by HTL?
high technology letters, sir.
Is it paid journal or?
Yeah, it's a paid.
So you have been published 7 paper in your assessment period. All belongs to paid journal.
Yeah, that's
So HTL has any impact factor?
Yeah.
HTL journal has an impact factor? What is the impact
Every
factor?
paid journal having their own impact factor.
They say
Whatever they want to print on it.
But at that time, sir, in 2014, we don't know, but at that time, online journals came. So we used to publish because I joined in the service as a regular.
No. Earlier you have been published elsewhere, Springers, reputed journals, Scopus Index. But this assessment period, all 7 publications.
There was a gap, sir, between that the elsewhere to here. There was a large gap because
it seems to be completed the fulfillment of the papers. No. Right?
Yeah.
It's a simple answer.
Yeah.
So
presently we are looking for that good journals. And
so further, we should not publish. Being a physics people, you should not publish your research articles or research work in a paid journal.
I do agree with the experts and the suggestion for particularly for a physics faculty. I mean, if they are going to publish in such journals, I mean, just to complete the formality is not good one. Can you name a journal, good journal, which is in the ultrasonic field, which has a very good impact factor?
Yeah.
No.
Journal of Acoustic Society of India, sir.
The Acoustic Society of India, I have not heard that as a very good journal. Very rare journal of our country is very good.
Ultrasonics journal is there. American journal.
Published by?
No,
By?
Yeah, I didn't, sir.
Okay. No, you are working in an ultrasonics and you do not know the good
Definitely, I will publish it, sir.
No. He's asking the name of Vice Chancellor asking that which is the good journal in acoustics.
Yeah, ultrasonics, sir.
That's what sir asking. Who is what the publishers?
Yeah, it's an American journal, sir.
Yeah, American Journal of Ultrasonics.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what do you mean by impact factor of a journal?
It's referred by the
Doctor, if you don't know.
Yes.
Hmm.
Sir.
Okay.
Sir, exactly, I don't know, sir. But, okay, sir.
So you have used microwaves, right, for your work?
Ultrasonics. Ultrasonic waves.
No, microwaves. In one paper, you have mentioned about microwaves. What is it?
Microwave has got the frequency in the gigahertz range.
How to generate microwaves?
Klystron tubes are there. Klystron.
So how to generate frequencies, different frequencies of electromagnetic waves? For example, if you want to generate a 10 kilohertz electromagnetic wave, so what is the method that is employed?
10 kilohertz.
Yeah, 10 kilohertz.
Magnetic restriction method can be applied.
What is that method?
Applying magnetic and electric field to the crystal.
What experiments you are dealing with in the laboratory?
You see, I am.
You are teaching for MSc students or BSc students?
Quantum mechanics I am teaching.
No, about experiments, lab.
Lab I did electronics.
So in electronics, you have come across oscillator.
Yeah.
What it does?
Yeah, it produces alternating waves, that is Colpitt's Hartley oscillators. They produce waves of in the range of kilohertz.
Okay. So electromagnetic waves of any frequency can be generated using oscillator?
No, sir. It has got some range. More than that, in megahertz frequency we cannot produce using oscillator. There is a restriction because using RC circuits, there is a limitation.
So you also teach modulation?
Modulation, I am dealing digital electronics. Modulation studies are
Which is a part of electronics. Modulation. What is it?
I studied amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation.
How do they work? Just explain.
Yeah, it's used in radio and.
No, not the usefulness, the working principle of modulation.
Yeah, it's see, a sound wave is a carrier wave is overlapped by a sound wave by mixing of sound wave and carrier wave with high frequency, and it can by mixing it can it is transmitted to the air, and
It is a one-step process or several steps are involved before transmission?
Several steps are there, sir.
Yeah, you should explain that.
No, sir, but I am.
The students have to understand what you teach, no?
I studied it. 3 types of modulations I studied, and amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation. So it's a changing of the amplitude of the carrier wave, that is called amplitude modulation. Changing of frequency is called frequency modulation, and changing of phase is called phase modulation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Dharmprakash, is it okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Reddy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think. Oh, you approach the court for your rights, right? You joined in Osmania City on some date, and you are demanding for the promotion. Okay. But at the same time, your publications is all not in only paid journals, and how do you justify this?
Actually, see, because of the university only, see, sir, they
No, university is not
university.
University is not at fault. But what is your contribution and your research?
We went to court for see regularization of our services. Sir. We were working from 1996, and till then, see, university.
At the time of appointment, you fulfill the qualification. PhD
Yeah, everything I fulfilled, sir. But when we go to a court, then they'll see in a different manner, sir. There is a
so earlier appointment is ad hoc appointment, even though you are fulfilling the qualification.
Yes, sir. It was an ad hoc, and we were paid UGC scale on par with assistant professor from 2003, 11 to 2003. We were paid.
No, I'm not asking about it. But you went to the court for your right? So similarly, you will also university also expecting the similar kind of a quality from your side.
Definitely, I will produce, sir. I will produce.
Already you are
claiming
from the bad day.
Because of some disturbance caused because of courts and all.
Right. We should not. I think he will get content of the feelings by the reason of the yeah. Srinath Reddy, please. Yeah, Srinath Reddy. So when did you join in Osmania City? 2013. Did you complete your PhD? What's your topic?
National Director Level